So you want her to think about you. You're probably at this point obsessing over her and you're just thinking, how come she doesn't think about me as just as much as I think about her? Or maybe she is, but I don't know. Trust me, dude, I've been there before, so you should just stay tuned and I'm going to explain exactly everything for you and how to get her to be thinking about you all the time. Stay tuned. What's going on, guys? My name is Assam from dopelifecoaching.com, and today I'm going to be talking about how to make her think about you all the time, right? So the first thing you need to understand is that women are hypergamous. They're not like us guys. What does hypergamous mean? They are biologically designed to mate with a higher status social man, a man who is on the social hierarchy, higher status than them. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean financials, but it just means that a man has higher status than her. Either it's social status, either it's just friends surrounding them, it's either just other women that find him attractive. And so once you understand that women have this hypergamous nature, you can then manipulate that tactic to your advantage and work on certain things from your own end for both the short term and the overall goal. And I'm about to explain just that right now. And so what I'm going to outline is basically two things: what to do and what not to do, because a lot of it revolves around what not to do, you know, contrary to popular belief. Some guys think, oh, what is that one thing I could tell her? What's that one thing I could do for her to make her thinking about me? When it's really not always that case. A lot of times it's just what not to do, right? So let me just go through each and every case for both short term and long term so that you can find your success with women. So first things first, you need to be confident, right? From a primal perspective, women are biologically designed to mate with a higher status, confident male. Why is that? Just in case her offspring need to be protected, right? Her offspring needs someone to be there to provide for them. And so if you're not fucking confident, that means you don't have the resources necessary to support that child. Obviously, from a tribal perspective, you know, from way back in the days, women are just biologically programmed this way. And so before I go into details about how to be confident, to be confident, I need to teach you how to be confident. You can't just be confident. It's not just going to come out of thin air, right? But the way for you to be confident is by knowing how to do something and doing it well, because that's the definition of confidence: knowing how to do something and doing it well. Now, how do you get to that point? You get to that point by working on something and seeing small improvements day by day, week by week, and notice that you are improving in those goals. Women will notice that, and more so, obviously, you will notice that. You're going to carry yourself with more swagger. You're going to be more charismatic. You're going to be more charming and more confident and a little bit more cocky, right? In a good way, of course. I don't want you to go overboard. And so after that, you're going to come off as confident because you know how to do something and do it well. It's not just going to come out of thin air. I'm not just going to tell you to just be confident. But you need to work on something, find something, whether it's your mission, whether it's hobbies, whether it's repetition, and do it well. Again, confidence is the state of doing something and being able to do it well. I don't care if it's talking to friends. I don't care if it's talking to girls, building rapport with people, learning how to ride a bike. I mean, the first time you learn how to ride a bike, like if I tell you how to ride a bike right now and you know how to ride it, you're probably not going to hesitate. But if you don't know how to ride it, you're not going to be confident. Why? Because you don't know how to do it well. You didn't get those reps in. You need those reps in order to build that confidence. And what's going to build that confidence is when you build those reps over and over again, over a period of time. And so that when you're talking to her, how to be confident with her is you're just going to illustrate those simply by doing things like looking her in the eye, repeating back what she said, taking the lead, and always be the one to initiate things, right? That's going to make you more confident, and a more confident person is going to do the same things, you know, in return. So it's the confidence that you're doing it and the confidence that you're getting from doing something else in your life. Right? Both the short-term and the long-term goal to cover both the curiosity aspect of women and the hypergamy aspect of women. After that state of confidence is achieved, you're going to, maybe you might be a little bit hesitant at first, but you're going to be able to look her in the eye, charm her, demonstrate that body language that you are confident. For example, if she's talking to you like this, you're not going to be, you know, like this, because when people are uncomfortable, they usually talk like this. But you, on the other hand, maybe if you're outdoors and you're just having a good time, you could do this. Confident body language, you're open, you're occupying a lot of space, you're demonstrating that you are enough because you are confident. And this is, again, going to come from repetition, and it's going to come from doing something and being able to do it well, even if it has nothing to do with women, which should be your primary goal to begin with, hopefully. Next thing you want to do is you want to charm her, and do not be afraid to be bold after rapport is established, right? So charming her is always a good thing. She's always going to fall for things like that. Women just love things like that. However, the boldness aspect has to be after rapport is established. You can't just say these things early on, because you're going to creep them out. It's very likely that you're going to creep them out. So for example, both of you guys are having dinner. You're meeting for the first time or whatever, second time, whatever it is, and the rapport is established, right? You're both laughing, you're both having a good time, the eye contact is there, the body language is just relaxed. And if you feel like saying something along the lines of this, you can just go ahead and say it. You can just look her in the eyes and be like, God damn, you have a fucking unbelievable body. Like, holy shit. And then she might just giggle, which most likely is going to be the case. Like, oh my God, why are you saying that? And you tell her, like, I'm just telling you the truth, right? And so afterwards, you can just change the subject and do something else. But I guarantee you, if rapport is established and you know what you're doing and you say it in a confident way, she's going to like that. You're going to come off as very ballsy and very confident. The next thing you could do is you want to communicate indirectly, of course, that you are more superior than other guys. Again, you don't want to overdo this, but there should be sub-communications, hidden sub-communications that communicate this. For example, you can tell her something along the lines of, honestly, I just can't do a 9-to-5. I don't see myself doing it. You know, I'm worthy of much more, and I know I could do so much more for myself. Obviously, whatever's real for you, like, that's just an example, right? And so what that does to her is, you know, it tells her, this guy means business. You know, he's higher status, and therefore I could mate with him because he will be able to protect my child. Again, from a tribal and primal perspective. Or you could say something along the lines of, you know, for example, let's say you're, 28 years old. Oh, how come you're not married yet? You could just tell her something along the lines of, I can't just settle with just anyone. I need someone who's gonna fucking knock my socks off and make me feel amazing before I consider that, before that option is even on the table. And so you're just being honest. And then she's like, oh, damn, this guy has standards. You know, he means business. Low status people do not have standards. You communicating that, you're saying that you're high status, and that therefore you're a higher status and more confident, suitable mate for her. The next thing is you want to have a definite major purpose that you are obsessively going after, and you're not stopping when it comes to achieving those goals, right? Women find that totally sexy when a guy's just after his masculine drive and he's after his purpose in life. That just shows to her that, again, he's a really good mate from a primal perspective because he's actively pursuing his goals. He's not pursuing her, he's pursuing his goals because he will therefore be a more resourceful man for the family. Again, from a primal tribal perspective. If you understand the magnitude of just the fact that women are very hypergamous, and you could just inject a little bit of curiosity into that, I guarantee you the rest of the video will be something you don't even have to watch. If you could just really grasp that. Guys, it's not so much so important that you have a definite major purpose that's going to be there for the rest of your life, but there's just a purpose in your life, a definite purpose that you are looking after and trying your best to attain right now. That purpose could change in 6 months, a year, but the idea is you have a purpose. You are out there to achieve something and get shit done, and that's what makes a man attractive. And if you don't know what it is, at least try. You know, there's fake it till you make it, but only fake it till you make it, till you can go only so far with that. You got to think of something sooner or later to just really, really focus on, put all of your energy into, or at least most of your energy as a man, because again, that's going to make you more attractive and she will think about you more. And at the end of the day, guys, it's not so much so that it's all about you, right? Just because I'm talking about you right now. There's also certain things you could do for her that will make her think about you, right? So what can you do for that? The thing that sticks out to me most is you want to listen actively to her and show her that. If she repeated certain things to you that 2 summers ago, one of her best days of her life at a concert with her girlfriends, that was one of the best days of her life, you want to remember that. You know, and just some other day or just later on in the convo, be like, oh, like that one time 2 summers ago when you had an amazing time, one of the best days of your life with your girlfriends. It just shows that you're actively listening, and just women love to be heard. Us guys, we love to be understood. They love to be heard. They love to feel as though you are actively listening to them, paying attention, right? Because if you don't listen, she could just think, he just wants me for sex. He wants to get in my pants. What proof does he have that he was actually listening to me and actually gives a shit? Right? When you actively listen, that shows that you give a shit. You're actually personally, on a personal level, you give a shit about her. You're not just listening because you're not listening. You're not just looking at her. You're actively listening because you want to get to know her as a person. Another thing that is extremely crucial when it comes to what to do is to always take the lead. This, again, ties into being confident, but it's also a good fake it till you make it strategy. It's also a good short-term strategy if you're not just there just yet, but it's always good to take the lead. You're the one who wants to call the shots. You're the one who, you know, tells them where the date's going to be, what to wear, all these things. You want to take the lead because that puts you in that masculine drive that just makes you more attractive to her as a suitable mate. This ties into confidence and with repetition. And once you understand that women are really hypergamous and you can manipulate this, you're going to do well. You just got to rinse, recycle, repeat, and then repetition is the mother of skill, and you will be able to succeed at this. I guarantee you, as long as you follow it. Now, a good short-term tactic to get her to think about you is simply to be unpredictable, right? She can't predict your next move. You're doing whatever, you know, you're exciting and you're just giving her that adrenaline rush in a good way, of course, and she just can't predict your next move. She can't predict when you're gonna call her. She can't predict when you're gonna text her. She can't predict your next move on the date with her. You know, if the energy is right, maybe you just go in for the kiss in the middle of the sentence when she's talking. Or maybe you guys just go to some, I don't know, a playground and just be little kids again. Whatever it happens to be, she's not gonna care. She just wants to have fun, right? Girls just wanna have fun, I promise you that. And so when you are unpredictable and you're giving all these good emotions, she's gonna think about you more because you're keeping her on her toes. It's like you're exciting. You're the opposite of boring. The opposite of boring is being exciting and unpredictable. Who the fuck wants to be boring? Put it that way. Because you want her to think about you, you want her to be curious. How are you going to be curious? How are you going to make her curious? Sorry. You're going to make her curious by being unpredictable. You have to be unpredictable, bro. They love it. They love this shit. Just give it a try. Be creative. So now for what not to do, right? A lot of attracting women and getting them thinking about you all the time revolves around this. What not to do is not enough. However, it's a big portion of it. So let's go into the first one. You don't want to text her all the time. Absolutely not. It's going to turn her off, even if she tells you it won't. And it's just going to make you very predictable, and women don't like predictability, right? At least they don't want too much predictability. If you're texting her all the time, you're showing her that your schedule is wide open. You don't have a nice social status. You don't have a nice social life. You don't have anything going on. You're not working on your purpose. You're not going to the gym. So she's thinking subconsciously, like, what the fuck? Nobody else wants this guy. That's why he's texting me all the time, on a subconscious level, of course. So don't do it. It's just gonna turn her off, and just do it sparingly and do it unpredictably, as long as you're bringing good emotions to the table and you're actually flirting with her instead of treating her like a friend. So, you know, send that nice text, send winky faces, just don't overdo it, not too much emojis. I never recommend those. Anything that comes to your mind, be creative about it. Another very important one that I noticed that a lot of guys don't do is they're too afraid to disagree with a woman, right? You should never be afraid to disagree with a woman. If you think, I don't know, a Ford Mustang is a great car, a Ford Mustang is greater than the Dodge Charger, and then she's telling you, no, Mustangs suck, ew, they're like douchebag cars, and you still think the Mustang is awesome, be like, no, the Mustang is awesome. What the fuck are you talking about? You have no good sense of style. You have no good sense of, you know, cars. Whatever it is, you're lame. Joke around with her. But she's going to notice that if you stand your ground, that you're a man. What she could be doing is just testing you. Like, she's trying to see if you have any balls, if you're going to stand up to her. If you say something along the lines of, oh yeah, absolutely, you're right, this actually is a douchebag car, you're going down to her level. You know, you were up here, you're meeting her and you're changing your word, and therefore you're not attractive because you don't have your own word. And because you don't have your own word, you don't really believe in it fully. And now she thinks she could just jerk you around. It's just a really bad way to go. Don't do it. Another thing that's very similar to not being afraid to disagree with her, is not being afraid to tell her that she upset you or that she did something wrong that you really didn't appreciate it. Maybe she disrespected you. The whole idea is you don't want to make her feel like you're a pushover. If there's something that she did that bothered you, and even if she genuinely doesn't agree with it, but as long as you say it and you communicate it in a very nice, mature way, and you stand your ground with no drama, right? She's going to respect the fact that you said that, even if she got annoyed by it, or even if she disagrees with it. You could tell her, to be honest, I didn't like how you talked to me in front of your friends. I didn't like how you shouted at me when I didn't deserve anything. You shouted at me like a little child with no emotional maturity. I don't like that. Come on, I'm not a fan of that. That's like, I'm not going to accept that again. And so you never know, maybe you could lose her, but at the end of the day, she's going to respect you because you stood up for yourself. And more than likely, she's not going to leave you after something like that. Even if she's annoyed by it, because she's going to think in the back of her head, this guy means business. This guy's not afraid to stand up for himself. He has standards, and because he has standards, he has higher status male. Remember that. Another thing you should be really cognizant about and you shouldn't do is to not fall into her traps when she tests you. She's going to set up these metaphorical traps, so to speak, in order to test you and see how you're going to react. For example, let me give you one. There was this one time I was out with a woman, and I had a piece of garbage in my hand. I can't remember what it was. I think it was some candy or whatever, chocolate bar. It doesn't matter. And so what I was going to do is I was looking for the nearest garbage bin in order to throw it in there. And then she was just like, oh, really? You throw it in the garbage? You're not just gonna throw it on the floor in here in the street? Like, I don't know. I don't like guys who are extra cleanly like that. And then obviously I knew she was joking, and I knew what I was doing, and I knew it was just a trap. So I was just like, oh, well, I'm the clean guy over here. You wanna be with all those hobos, those old dirty hobos? Go with them. And obviously I had a smile on my face, and I was just joking. I wasn't too serious. And so she laughed, and then I pointed out, I was like, you're just saying that because you're testing me to see how I would react. And then she was like, yep, I gotta keep testing you. And so if you point something out like that, it's smart. Because then you're showing her that you know what she's doing, that you're not stupid, that you have, you're socially calibrated when it comes to women. She's gonna like that if you pick up on that. Another thing you shouldn't be doing at all, especially at first, is telling her she's beautiful all the time. Now, the only exception to this is if you guys have been together for at least a couple of months, and also if words of affirmation are something that is really important to her. Words of affirmation, they're basically one of the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. Really great book, by the way. You should definitely read it. If those words of affirmation are really important to her, then you go ahead and tell her how beautiful she is from time to time. And especially if you guys have been together for months, but definitely not at first at all. She already knows she's attractive. Every other guy tells her that. She's probably been fucking told this since she was 5, 6 years old, God knows. So there's just really no need to, right? You want something that's specific and unique to her that no one else notices. Things within her personality. She's gonna go crazy more so over those things. Another thing that is such a fucking turnoff to women is when you complain or nag about your life. You shouldn't be complaining or nagging about your life, dude. Like, you should show as much as possible that you are a positive man. Again, fake it till you make it. The whole idea is you want it to be short term that you're faking it, but then long term, in a couple of months from now, you're gonna be actually like that in real life. You're actually going to be that way. You're actually going to be a positive person. No one wants to be around a fucking nagger. Like, come on, dude. Like, at the end of the day, don't be complaining. And also, what ties into not complaining is not talking about your exes, especially in a bad way. Don't do any of that stuff, especially at first. And if she asks you to talk about your exes and you guys have been talking for a while, then sure, you could talk about it, but put a positive spin on it. Say, God bless them. I learned from this. I learned from this person. I learned from her. I learned from the other person. I learned this. I learned that. Everything is always a blessing in disguise, even if it doesn't seem that way for us. So just don't fucking complain and nag about your life all the time. And if you hate what you're doing with your life, change something up. If your life sucks, but she sees that you're doing something actively to better it, I guarantee you she's going to respect that. And she's very, very likely to stick around. Even if right now she's higher social status than you, but she sees you're actively pursuing those goals and she likes you to start with, I guarantee you she's going to stick around if she's a normal, sane human being. And another thing that you should get in general is that women don't want a man who is reactive. They want a man who is proactive. When you're the man who is proactive, you're focused on the things that you can control. When you're reactive, you're focused on the circle of concern, which is basically the things that you cannot control. By the way, Stephen Covey, the author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is the one who discussed this in his book. It's really powerful stuff. But anyways, be proactive. Take a proactive approach to your life. Into every situation, whatever it is, you should call the shots. You should be the one in the position of power who's controlling things and leading them. Not controlling, but leading them in the direction, toward the direction that you want. When you're reactive and you're reacting to her, like it just shows that you're not fully, composed. You can't fully compose yourself. If she's taking something personally that you said and then you just meant it as just a joke, you don't react to what she's saying. Instead, take it as a joke. Be like, come on, you're being really silly right now. Come on, I know you want to kiss me right now. Like, come on. Come on. We both know you're joking. And just treat her like she's like a little, like a little girl. Like she's joking. Joke around with her, dude. Right? Don't react. Be proactive. And then she's likely gonna take that positively and go back to her normal self. Especially if she's bitchy and she's whining. But when you diffuse the situation like that, like a man, you're proactive. You're not reactive. You're the one who's, setting the tone and the dynamic of the conversation, right? To exactly where you want it to go. And that's ultimately where I want to take you. So yeah, man, that pretty much wraps everything up. At the end of the day, you got to understand women are hypergamous. Understand this truthfully, like I said earlier, and also infuse and inject that curiosity into it by being unpredictable, taking the lead, listening and not texting all the time. All these things, a mixture of all these things, and I guarantee you will see success with women. I'm not one here to just give you a strategy or a fucking one-word pickup line that's just going to make her fucking take her panties down and ask for sex with you. That's just not going to happen. However, understanding of the basic fundamentals and principles of attraction, what women want and what men want and what women want in an ideal partner, not just short term or sexually, but in a partner, you will understand that it's really not that difficult. And you just need to show those primal behavioral traits in order to keep her interested and intrigued, both in the short term and on the long run, right? So if you want my personal help, go to my website, www.dopelifecoaching.com. We still have free consultations for first timers, so take advantage. Like and subscribe down there, and give me your favorite ideas in your comments below. Just give me a good recommendation. I'll be more than happy to help. As long as you give me a good recommendation, show some love, show some support, and I will work with you soon. Take care.